Seriously, stop scrolling, set the phone down, or at least pretend you're not multitasking. Loosen your shoulders, take a breath, grab a coffee, tea, water, or whatever substance convinces your nervous system that reality is manageable. This video works best if you just listen. And if you enjoy where this goes, like the video, leave a comment with your favorite explanation for existence, and share this with someone who has ever stared at the ceiling at night and felt deeply suspicious of reality. Okay, why is there something instead of nothing? That question sounds simple, childlike even, like something you'd ask before being told to go to sleep. But it might be the most dangerous question you can ask, because every explanation you've ever heard, every scientific theory, every religious story, every philosophical argument assumes something already exists. Particles, fields, laws, logic, possibility. But the question isn't why this universe. The question is why anything at all exists. Why is there reality instead of, well, not reality? Let's start with nothing. And I mean nothing. Not empty space, not darkness, not a void, not a vacuum, not a blank canvas waiting to be filled. Those are all still something. True nothingness has no space, no time, no laws, no properties, no potential, no possibility. Not even the concept of zero, which is already a problem, because the moment you try to describe nothing, you've turned it into something. Nothing is not empty space. Empty space still has dimensions, quantum fluctuations, energy. Even the vacuum seethes with activity. Nothing is the absence of all structure. And yet, here we are. So one option is that nothingness is unstable. Maybe nothing can't exist. Maybe the absence of everything is impossible, and something must exist by necessity. But that's a bold claim. Why would nothing be impossible? Physics doesn't forbid nothing, mathematics doesn't forbid nothing, logic doesn't obviously forbid nothing. But here's where things get strange. Modern physics suggests that nothing might not be a stable state. In quantum field theory, even the lowest energy vacuum is restless. Particles pop into existence and annihilate each other constantly. So perhaps the universe emerged from a quantum fluctuation. But hold on, quantum fields are not nothing. They are governed by laws. They exist in space-time. They obey mathematical rules. If the universe came from a fluctuation, the question becomes, why did those laws exist? Why those fields? Why those equations? Why any framework at all? You haven't answered the question. You've just pushed it back. Okay, so what if the universe exists because it must? Some philosophers argue that existence is necessary, that non-existence is impossible, that reality exists because it cannot fail to exist. But that's suspiciously convenient. It feels like saying things are the way they are because they can't be otherwise, which might be true, but it's not satisfying. Another idea is that nothingness is unstable in a deeper sense, that existence is the default, that reality exists because nothingness has no reason to persist. But reason itself assumes logic, and logic assumes structure, and structure assumes something. So we're stuck in a loop. Now let's try a different approach. What if nothingness never existed? What if there was never a moment where there was nothing? What if reality is eternal? That avoids the problem of creation entirely. No beginning, no emergence, just existence all the way down. But this raises a new problem. An eternal universe still needs an explanation. Why does it exist eternally rather than not existing eternally? You can't escape the question by removing the beginning. So let's go deeper. What if existence is not a thing that needs explaining? What if why only applies within reality, not to reality? Why do planets orbit stars? Because of gravity. Why does gravity exist? Because of space-time curvature. Why does space-time exist? Now you're asking a question that may not have an answer, because why assumes causes, and causes assume time, and time might not exist fundamentally. If time is emergent, then asking what happened before existence is meaningless. Before might not exist. So the question, why is there something instead of nothing, might be malformed. Like asking, what is north of the North Pole? The question presumes a framework that doesn't apply. But that answer feels like a dodge, so let's keep going. Another possibility is that reality exists because all possible realities exist. This is the multiverse idea taken to an extreme. Every logically consistent structure exists somewhere. Every universe with every possible set of laws exists, and we happen to be in one that allows observers. This is the anthropic principle. We observe this universe because only universes like this can be observed. But again, why does the multiverse exist? Why does possibility exist? Why does logic exist? Why does consistency exist? Why does anything exist? At some point, explanations bottom out, and that bottom might be very uncomfortable. It might be that existence has no reason, not because we haven't found it, but because reasons are local. Reasons exist inside reality. Reality itself might be brute fact. No explanation, no cause, no justification, just this. And that idea is deeply unsettling, because humans are meaning-making machines. We expect reasons, we demand causes, we are deeply uncomfortable with it just is. But the universe might not care. Now let's flip the question. Instead of asking, why is there something instead of nothing, ask this. Why would there ever be nothing? Nothingness is the strange thing. Nothingness has no structure, no stability, no rule enforcing its persistence. Why assume that nothingness is the default? Why assume non-existence is more natural than existence? Maybe existence is the default. Maybe reality exists the way numbers exist. The number 2 doesn't need a cause. It doesn't need to be created. It exists because it is logically consistent. Perhaps reality exists because it is a valid mathematical structure, and all valid structures exist, which means reality is not special. It's just one of many. But then, why do you exist? Why this perspective? Why this experience? Why awareness at all? You are not just something, you are something that knows it exists. And that makes the question sharper, because consciousness seems unnecessary. The universe could exist without awareness. So why is there experience? Why is there something it is like to be you? An unsettling answer is that consciousness is not special. It's just what sufficiently complex systems do. Awareness emerges the way temperature emerges from particle motion. There is no cosmic intention behind it, no purpose, just structure behaving in a certain way. And yet, here you are, thinking, wondering, listening. Which brings us to the most uncomfortable possibility of all. Maybe the question, why is there something instead of nothing, has an answer, but it's not accessible to minds like ours. Ants cannot understand calculus. Dogs cannot understand economics. There may be explanatory frameworks that human cognition simply cannot grasp. Reality might make sense in a way that feels meaningless to us. And that's humbling. But here's the twist. The fact that the universe exists at all, regardless of why, is extraordinary. The fact that there are laws, that there is structure, that there is causation, that there is complexity, that there is awareness,
that there is a moment where the universe is asking questions about itself. That is astonishing. You don't need a reason for existence to be meaningful. Meaning is something that exists within existence. You are a local pocket of meaning in a universe that doesn't owe you an explanation. And that's okay. In fact, that might be the point. If existence had a reason, it would be finite. If it had a goal, it would be incomplete until achieved. But if existence simply is, then everything that happens matters locally. Your thoughts matter because they happen. Your choices matter because they exist. Your experiences matter because they are real to you, even if the universe has no reason, or especially if it doesn't. So the next time